Hi everyone, this is HM&S video number 30 and you are most welcome for it. Last video we talked a lot about doing calculations in Microsoft Word tables. If you haven't watched that video, you can look for HM&S video number 29 and then you go and watch it. Today we want to talk about how we can do the same calculations but this time around using what's called a bookmark in Microsoft Word. Let's switch on to it and we get to know how to do calculations in Microsoft Word table using bookmarks. Now I've created this Word document and I've inserted some few tables in the Word document. If you don't know how to insert tables in Microsoft Word, it's actually very simple. You simply need to come to the Insert tab. Then from the Tables group, you click on Table. These are the blocks that you can use to insert your tables. You simply need to hover over to it as you see the preview from the document area. And also you can see the dimension from top there. So this is a 3x4 table. If you want to insert it, you simply need to click on it. And it will be inserted like the way you are seeing up here. Now last video we talked a lot about how we can calculate in Word table. I want to remind ourselves just a little bit about it. This table is having some items. Those are the books, the prices, and we want to get the tax amount. So I'm going to click on this cell. Now if you create a table in Microsoft Word, automatically you get two contextual tabs. The table design tab and then the table layout tab. Now if you want to do calculations in Word tables, you simply need to click on the Table Layout tab. Then from the Data group, you click on Formula. Now when you click on Formula, you get this Formula dialog box. Now this Formula dialog box has 4 fields that you can use to do your calculation. We have the Formula box. That's where you paste the formula you want to use. We have the Number format. That's where you can get all these number formats if you click on this drop-down arrow. Then we have the Paste function. If you click on this drop-down arrow, we have all these inbuilt functions that you can insert and use. The one that Word has inserted for us here is the sum, which is already down here. Then also we have the paste bookmark, and this is what we are going to talk about in this video. Already, Microsoft Word has already guessed that there's actually a number on the left, and we want to sum that number, but actually that's not what we want. We actually want to get the 10% of that number. So already we have the sum left. We simply need to come here, and then we multiply it by 10%. And then you click OK. You can see it has inserted for us a 10% of 150, which is 15. You can do the same on this cell also. Click from the Table Layout tab, Data group, you click on Formula. Now it's talking of sum above, but we don't want to sum above. We actually want to sum left. So I'm going to click, then backspace, and type there left. We are summing left. Then I'm going to multiply it times the 0.1, which is actually the same as 10%. And when you click OK, can see it works very well. Let's do the last one. You click, go to Formula. Now if you don't want to do the sum, maybe you want to get maybe the average or something else, you simply need to highlight this, delete, then you come to Paste function, then you get the function you want. Like for example, the maximum, you click on max, it will insert for you the function there. Then you simply need to do either above, left, or below. Then you simply need to click OK. That's how we were doing the calculations in the previous video. Now this time around we want to use bookmark. So I'm going to scroll down a bit up to table 2. Now before we even do anything, let's just go back to the Formula dialog box. Click on Formula. You can see it's trying to guess that we want to do sum left, but the paste bookmark is actually grayed out. You cannot do anything with the paste bookmark. It's grayed out, meaning it's not active. That's because so far we haven't inserted any bookmark in this Word document. So I'm going to click Cancel for now. So now let's start by inserting a bookmark in this very Word document. When you want to insert a bookmark in a Word document, you simply need to go to the Insert tab, and then from the Links group, you have the bookmark. You click and you get the bookmark dialog box. So I'm going to close it. The keyboard shortcut to go to bookmark is Alt-N-K, and it will automatically open for you the bookmark dialog box. Now I'm going to scroll up a bit. Now this bookmark dialog box has the bookmark name. This is the area where you can put the bookmark name. So here in this large box, this is where all the bookmarks you have created or you have inserted will actually be listed. I'm going to first close this. Now what you need to do, you need to start by highlighting what you want to create a bookmark for. Like for our case, we want only the 10% to be our bookmark. Reason being, we are going to use it in the calculation, so we don't want any other text. So I'm going to first of all highlight the 10%. So you go to the Insert tab, Links group, Bookmark, or use the keyboard shortcut Alt-N-K. Now, when it opens for you the bookmark dialog box, you need to start by typing the name. Now, when you're typing the bookmark name, you need to make sure that you start with a letter. And also, you're not allowed to put a space. You can either use underscore or use no space. I'm going to give it a bookmark name of e.g. tags. Now, the moment I start writing the bookmark name, you can see the add option is now activated, meaning I can add the bookmark now. But the moment I put a space there and write anything, you can see that it is now grayed out, meaning you're not allowed to put any space. So I'm going to backspace. So instead of a space, I'm going to use underscore, and then I'm going to type 1. Now, we are going to call this bookmark e.g. tags 1, that is the 10%. I'm going to click on add. Now, when you do that, it will automatically add for you the bookmark and close the bookmark dialog box. Let's use that bookmark now to do our calculations. So I'm going to click on this cell. Again, you go to the table layout tab. From the data group, you click on formula. Now, this time around, you can even automatically see that the best bookmark is now not grayed out, meaning we can now use it. So it has guessed our formula right. We want to sum left, which is summing for us only one number. Then we are going to multiply it. This time around, we are not going to type the 10% there. Instead of typing the 10%, we are coming to the paste bookmark. When you come to paste bookmark, we have our e.g. tags 1, which is actually the 10%. When you click on it, you simply need to click OK. And you can see it works actually very well. I'm going to down arrow, then do the same thing. Formula. It has got sum above, but what we want is actually sum left. So I'm going to backspace on the above and then do left times, come to paste bookmark, e.g. tags 1. That's our bookmark, which is the 10%. And when you click OK, you can see it also works very well. Now I'm going to down arrow, table layout tab, data group. When you click on formula, you get sum above, but what we want is actually sum left. Then I'm going to multiply it by the e.g. tags 1. When you click on it, before I click OK, this time around, let's use number format. When you click on this drop down arrow, we have very many number formats here, but the one we want is actually this one. You can see it starting with a $sign. That means it's actually a currency number format. So when you click on it, then you click OK, you can see it puts for you the number there, but also with the number format applied to it. You can see that this time around the bookmark we use, we have written it as 10%. What if we write 0.1 instead of 10%, which is actually the same as 10%? Will it also work? So we are going to create a second bookmark. I'm going to highlight only the 0.1. Then I'm going to go to the insert. From the links group, you click on bookmark. Now I'm going to close this, or you use the keyboard shortcut, Alt and K. It opens for you the same dialog box. Already we have e.g. tags 1 there, but I'm going to go to the bookmark name, and instead of e.g. tags 1, I'm going to change it to e.g. tags 2. And then I'm going to do add. Now, already we have added the second bookmark. If you are to go back to the bookmark dialog box now, you can see we have two bookmarks, e.g. tags 1 and e.g. tags 2, that we can use. And we can use any actually in our calculation. I'm going to close this. Now let's click on this cell and we use it. Table layout tab. From the data group, you click on formula. Now it's saying sum left. I'm going to simply multiply it by paste bookmark. And in this time around, I'm going to select e.g. tags 2. When you click OK, you can see it works very well. You click on this cell, formula. Instead of sum above, I'm going to do sum left. And then I'm going to multiply it by, come to paste bookmark, e.g. tags 2. You click OK. I'm going to click on this. Let's do the last one. You click. Instead of sum above, I'm going to change to sum left, multiply, paste bookmark, e.g. tags 2, you click OK. Whether you use 10% or 0.1, it works. Now the method you have actually been using, it's what's called a positional argument. Last video we actually talked a little bit more about positional argument, but you saw we were summing left. You can as well sum right, above or below. Now if you're doing any calculations and you're using those functions we saw and you're using it on those directions, then you're using a method called a positional argument method. But also in Microsoft Word, you can as well use a cell reference. So I'm going to scroll down. Now the cell references in Microsoft Word also works like the one in Excel. They're actually invisible column headers and row headers also. So I'll put these column headers and row headers here to make it easy for us to understand. So the first column in a table is always column A, then the second column is column B, and then column C. The same also applies to row. The first row is always row 1, row 2, row 3, like that. And a cell, like for example this one here, is actually a combination of column and row, and it's called B2 because of column B and row 2. This is cell C3, just like that. We're going to use cell references and bookmark to do this calculation as well. So I'm going to click on this cell C2, then I'm going to go to the table layout tab, come to formula. We don't want to use positional argument, so we are going to backspace until we delete this. So I'm going to start by pasting our bookmark. So you come here, you click on paste bookmark. Let's do any, e.g. tax 1. I'm going to multiply it by B2. Now B2 is this cell here. So when you click OK, you can see it works very well. Now we can also go to this cell, but before we go to that cell, there is actually a keyboard shortcut that you can use to see the code that's written for your formulas and calculations. So if I'm to highlight this, then you use the keyboard shortcut Alt F9. It shows for you the code that's written for the calculations that you have been doing. This is actually a table which is above. The one we are working on is this one. Now I want you to realize something. Every formula always starts with a curly bracket and it ends with a curly bracket. So that starting with a curly bracket and ending with curly bracket is actually creating for you a field. So in a Word document, calculation is actually done within a field. That's why even above here you can see all this calculation is starting with a curly bracket and also ending with a curly bracket. Now if you want to go back to the cell, you use the same keyboard shortcut again, Alt F9. When we scroll up, and you can see it has taken us back. If you don't want to use a keyboard shortcut, you can as well select, then you right click, you come to toggle fill code. When you click on it, this time around it opens for you only for that particular cell, as you can see. But again, if you want to go back, you can as well right click, you come to toggle fill codes. When you click on it, it gets back. There's actually another keyboard shortcut that's actually used to create for you the field, and the keyboard shortcut is Control F9. So if you hit Control F9 like we have done, it opened for you the curly bracket and the closing curly bracket, so you can now type whatever you want to type inside that field. So I'm going to type everything equals to, you remember the bookmark name, it is e.g. tax underscore, let's use 1, then you can multiply it by cell B3. So I'm going to type B3. Now when you are typing it like this, you need to use the F9 key twice to put it back to the cell. Alt F9, Alt F9 again. Now it will go back to the cell and it will not update automatically. So you need to use again the update key. That is the key that's used to update the formulas in Microsoft Word. That is the F9 key. So at the moment you can see as if there is nothing, but when you update it using the F9 key, you can see the result is now displayed. Now let's do the same here. Control F9 equals to e.g. tax, this time around underscore, let's use e.g. tax 2, and then times B4. So you hit the Alt F9 twice, Alt F9 the first time, then Alt F9 the second time. Then you need to update it using the F9 key, as you can see. So it also works when you use the cell references. Now let's scroll down a bit. We are going to use the positional argument again. So when you click on this cell, I'm going to go back to formula. Now it's talking of sum left. That's correct. That's what we want. So I'm going to simply click on this, then do times. Come to paste bookmark. When you click on paste bookmark, I'm going to use any. Let's use e.g. tax 1. And when you click OK, you can see it works. But now this time around, when I down arrow, there's actually a keyboard shortcut that's used to repeat the previous calculation you have done, and that is the F4 key. Now this one only works if you're using the positional argument method. So let's see, F4, down arrow, F4. You can see it works very well. And if I'm to highlight this one and then right click, come to toggle fill code, you can see that there is actually sum left times e.g. tax 1 that's actually written there. So that is the previous calculation that we have done. So I'm going to right click again, come back to toggle fill codes. Yeah, that is it about calculations in Microsoft Word table using bookmarks. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you found this video interesting, give it a like and then you share it with your friends. This is a video where we talked about calculations in Microsoft Word table using paste function. You can click on the video, go and watch it, and you get to know more about calculations in Microsoft Word table. Until next video, HM&S video number 31, and then we meet again. Thank you.